On November 15th, 1996, workers at a manufacturing plant in Anderson, Indiana would go about their day until one of them would make a bizarre discovery in the sludge pit. In a pool of chemicals that would be lethal to any creature that fell in it, small unknown organisms were alive and thriving. Welcome to Cryptid Corner, and today we are going to look into the bizarre case of the Oil Pit Squids. The story starts in a small manufacturing town in Indiana, 20 minutes north of Indianapolis, known as Anderson. And one of the plants in this town is the GMC Delphi plant, which was an oil processing facility that used oil and chemicals to create car bumpers. The crew was cleaning out a waste pit when one of them would make a bizarre discovery. In the mixture of oil and sludge, there would be several 6 to 8 inch long organisms swimming in the pit, described as having grayish red colored skin similar to that of an earthworm but slightly transparent, but most closely resembling squids in body shape. These creatures would seemingly perish as, I guess they just kind of cleaned out the pit, just threw them out, apart from one of these that they would keep in a jar so that it would be later studied. But when December came around and it came time to send the jar into the lab, it mysteriously would not be there. The jar and these oil pit creatures would never be seen again. This unique case of creatures living in a sludge pit has led to many possible ideas of just what these cryptid creatures might actually be. And getting the wildest one out of the way right out the gate, some people think that these creatures are alien larvae that were hidden in a sludge pit just to be brought back onto the mothership in December. This solution makes no sense to me because why would an alien keep their baby in a car factory of all places in the waste disposal section? Like, even if these creatures require oil to live, like let's say that's how their biology is, I could think of like a million different places to keep these alien babies than in an actual trash pit. Another theory is that these squids are either a mutated or independent species of earthworm that evolved to live in the oil deposits across the world. Given that oil deposits are underground and sometimes underwater, I guess, it's pretty unlikely that a cephalopod would find their way into a deposit and have enough time to evolve to live in it. But an earthworm, which still seems unlikely, seems way more likely than a squid to me at least. On the note of life at oil deposits, I find the idea of life forms living in these seas of oil very interesting. These deposits can be massive, with some basins of oil being larger than some seas on Earth. So it would make sense that maybe some subterranean creature could evolve to adapt to this environment. We do know that smaller life forms like bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms have been found to live in oil deposits and oil-contaminated environments, leaving a potential food source to any creatures that adapts to feed upon these tiny organisms. And then of course creatures to feed on them and so on. Moving to more likely but far less fun theories, these could have been unfortunate animals that fell into the sludge pit and were witnessed in a decayed and dying state. And more on the worm theory, it's also possible that some worms got mixed in with the oil, I guess when they were like drilling it up or whatever, and they got clumped into balls together, and I guess there was like a night crawler and a bunch of worms tied together. And onto the more boring explanation, this could just be a hoax. I mean, the fact that nobody has found these creatures or any creatures like them swimming in oil deposits since, along with the conveniently missing jar, makes it extremely likely that this was just some bored waste disposal workers fibbing around to get a good story out of it. And that they did. In conclusion, the story of the oil pit squids is an obscure yet interesting one. On the surface, they might just seem like some sludge sifting trash fish, but if real, this could have been a revolutionary discovery. We currently just see oil as a resource to exploit, but at one point, Desert oil was once a thriving ecosystem of marine life forms, including squids. So yeah, your T-Rex toy isn't made out of an actual T-Rex, but if you have a plesiosaur toy and it's plastic, that was made of plesiosaurs. Back on topic though, the large idea that complex organisms could be swimming in these deposits is the most interesting aspect of this case to me. Every few years, we make discoveries that change what we know about the world. And ultimately, that's what cryptozoology puts all of its chips onto. Well, I mean, about half, the other half is making goofy creatures and stuff like that, like the cactus cat. Years ago, we thought that sunlight was needed for all life, but that was proven wrong through exploring what we believe to be barren areas like caves in the bottom of the ocean and underneath the iced up sheets of Antarctica. Perhaps there are squid-like worms swimming around in these oil deposits, and we were just too busy mining it to take a look inside and find them. Just remember that your car bumper is made from ancient squids and possibly mutated worm squids as well. And that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all for watching as always. This is a very interesting topic. I think this might be the first recommendation. It's the first recommendation I've at least done a Cryptid Corner on. This was recommended by Austin Lee 4156, a bit of a regular of the channel. So thank you for giving me this idea. If anyone else has any ideas of cryptids to cover, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'd like to see what you guys think. I always love reading the comments, as always, above all else. And also on icebergs, if you got any recommendations, go ahead and leave them down below. I appreciate all the support on the sleep iceberg, and I got a really interesting iceberg I know y'all are going to like coming up next, but I ain't going to show that off, and I'm not going to take up any more of your time. But once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.